Hello, friends. Mary here with Boomers Blooming. How are you all today? Where I am is cold and rainy and cloudy, and of course, it's cloudy and uh, slow today. I hope you all are doing fine. I hope all is well where you are. All is well here, and I'm thankful. So, I just got through watching television and I thought, let me go and talk to my YouTube friends for a minute or two. But you know that always stretches into more than a minute or two. Because I was watching this movie earlier and it talked about, what was that? The sense of purpose. The sense of purpose. And I thought about that. What does the sense of purpose really mean? And I kind of jotted it down as I was watching the movie. It says, the deep conviction that your life has meaning, direction, and significance beyond your day-by-day existence. That's interesting. The deep conviction that your life has meaning beyond the day-to-day existence. Okay? The day-to-day existence. So I was looking at that, and it said, feeling that your life has meaning, direction, and significance beyond simply existing. Yes. Knowing that your life has meaning and direction and significance beyond just simple, everyday, day-to-day, moment-to-moment existence. Mm-hmm. You know, when you're younger and you got a lot going on when you're younger, and I think what it does is it makes you feel, you feel the engagement of life. And in that engagement of life, your existence and your meaning can be, the word really good is not what I'm trying to say. It can be felt. It can be felt in your life. That's what I'm trying to say. It can be felt in your life. But as you begin to age and things change, sometimes for some of us that are aging and you've lost friends and family that you had relationships with, that kind of made you feel significant, and that it made you feel meaningful. Okay? I think things change, and we have to stay on focus. We really do. We have to stay on focus to continue to have that sense of purpose. Because I think sometimes when people don't have that sense of purpose, existence just becomes a very boring, unfulfilling life journey. Because if you don't have a sense of purpose, it's just your everyday routine and your everyday lifestyle becomes boring. It becomes the same. And it can become just existing. And as we age, we have to be careful about that. You know, I have a lot of friends that are around my age, and they're aging too. And I see that in some of them, and they may even see it in me, I don't know. I see the change, And sometimes I see the loss of joy, or the loss of happiness, or the loss of contentment. And I see just the existing phase. Now, most of my friends don't suffer with this, and I don't either. Because when it comes to me, I remind myself of my great existence. I remind myself of how meaningful I am. I remind myself that, what was that, I'm not empty. I remind myself that I'm important. I remind myself that I'm just not merely existing. Not merely existing. Living and experiencing the joys of living, the goals in living, and the sense of purpose. You know, back years ago, there was this probably been 20, 25 years ago. There was I don't know if he had escaped from jail or he had committed a crime or whatever it was, but he broke into this lady's house and he held her hostage. She became his hostage from the police as they surrounded the house. She became his hostage. And during that time, she kept her cool. She tried not to panic. She was there alone. She tried not to panic. They even made a movie about this, as I recall. And she talked to him calmly about his existence. And why did he feel he existed? And so between the hours of being held hostage until he surrendered himself to the police, he began to listen to her. He really didn't harm her. And he surrendered to the police because she took the time to talk to him about his existence, you know, and his purpose in life, his sense of purpose. And she went on, I can't remember her name, but she went on to write a book, and it's called The Driven Purpose. I think that's the name of it. The Driven Purpose. And I had said back then that I was going to get that book and read it. But of course I never did. You're talking about 25 years ago, I was still working, still had children, a husband, you know. But that book became very popular and it made her millions, The Driven Purpose. Because we all have it, whether we recognize it or not. And I think it's most important as we age to recognize that, because it can get muddled, it can start fading, like so many other things in life start fading as you age. But there's some things we have to always remember. And I thought it was wonderful when she talked to that young man. He was a young guy, for hours and hours. And I think she had such an impact on his life. I forgot what happened when he turned himself into the police, and I don't know what happened during the trial. I don't even know if he's still living. But what she did was profound, because what she did was she awakened something in him that was asleep. She awakened something in him that once it became awakened, he could see it, he could understand it. So the sense of purpose, regardless of what age you're in or what situation or time or space you're in your life, is so important. But I think it's even more important to seniors, because they've transitioned from one era to another. And in that transition, there have been many changes. Sometimes more than what young folk go through. In fact, most of the time. In that transition phase, there have been many challenges. And some of those challenges can probably make you lose your sense of meaningfulness, your sense of purpose, your sense of even existing. What does it mean to continue to exist? You know, without a purpose in your life, without goals, without feeling meaningful, significant, you can easily lose your focus on life itself. And so I think aging well and having a sense of purpose is very important. And it's worth trying to hold on to, because you have to try to hold on to it, because it's important. When a person loses their sense of purpose, then what is it? What's left? Because it's that sense of purpose that drives us on. It drives us on daily, weekly, monthly, yearly. That sense of purpose is a driving force in the human race. It's a driving force that says you exist, but you exist for a purpose. Not just day to day, nothing. Your existence characterizes your purpose. Your existence speaks loudly to your purpose. That can become kind of muddled or a little faded as you age. Because like I say, you've gone through so many transitions in your life, and your purpose can somewhat get confused or even maybe even lost. You know, a couple of years ago, one of my doctors, her son committed suicide. It was so sad. She told me about it. And the first thing I thought was, when she told me, I didn't say it, but I thought he had lost his purpose to even exist. His purpose to exist, he lost it. It was gone. So it's important to keep your purpose, your sense of purpose and why you exist, and understand that. And I know that. So I might be speaking to someone who just might be just existing from moment to moment, hour to hour, day to day, week to week, month to month, year to year. Just existing. That doesn't bring much joy to life. Doesn't bring much opportunity to life. You have to have a sense of purpose. You have to dig deep and find out what your purpose in life is. And that purpose in life will define your existence. It will speak loudly to your existence. Why you exist, why are you still here? There's a reason for that. Sometimes it can be hard to reach down deep and get that understanding of what is my sense of purpose in my life. Now, there have been times in my life that I've had to reach deep and find out and say to myself, especially during hard times that I have had to go through, what is the purpose? Really, what is the purpose of all of it? And what is my sense of purpose in this thing called life, in this existence? because you just don't want to exist. You want to exist full of purpose, full of joy. And so I think the worst thing that can happen is that loss of purpose. You know, I was reading too, because I said, let me read about this, because that movie was profound. I'm trying to think of the name of that movie, and I can't remember. Oh well. But you know, they say that people who have a sense of purpose in life, they do much better in the aging process, and they do much better in life. Now, I believe that, because having a sense of purpose in your life is a driving force. It propels you. It pushes you, sometimes even beyond the limits of your own expectations. It does. And so when you have that sense of purpose, I can see how it can prolong your life. They say that the medical science and scientists are saying that people who have that strong purpose in life do very well in life. And they live better quality lives too, because they have that strong sense of purpose in life that propels them in their existence, that identifies their existence, that speaks loudly to them. They do. I believe that. I believe people who have that live longer. I believe they live better quality lives. And I believe that they're better friends. I believe that they're better family members. Because, see, sometimes not having that purpose in life and feeling that emptiness, that you're just existing, can cause you to withdraw. It can cause you to not just withdraw, but it can cause you to become angry, frustrated, anxiety-ridden, because you're searching. And you just think, well, I'm just existing. So people who have that strong purpose of sense of purpose, I think they do better, and I think they live longer. On the average. I'll say on the average. You know. But getting back to my point, aging well and having that sense of purpose, I think that's very important. Because I've seen some seniors in my life and some older people in my life through certain situations and circumstances. It's almost as if they've given up on things. You know, illnesses can bring that about. Loneliness can bring that about. Self-doubt can bring that about. Loss of family, loss of spouse can bring that about. So many things that can bring about and affect a person's sense of purpose and make them feel like, I'm just existing. But what am I existing for? What am I existing for? So many things in life can do that. I've been there. You know, there have been times in my life when I have wondered, what am I existing for? But I have hobbies. I have friends and family. I have things that I like to do. That's another thing, too, in that film. It was talking about doing the things that make you happy. Doing those things that make you happy can bring about your purpose in life and just not make it seem like you just exist from day to day. And I can see that. Look, just doing the things you like can enhance your existence and your purpose in life. Finding those things that make you happy, that bring you pleasure, that bring you joy. Especially for people as they're aging, because there's a lot of things that are now limited. the activities that are limited. A lot of things that are limited now. So you have to keep that sense of purpose alive. And it says one way, like I said, you can do it by doing the things you like. Not what anybody else like, but what you like. So I do the things I like. I really do. I do those things that I really like. My hobbies, my gardening, my piano playing, my duck coloring, my little fluffy dog Charlie, my friends, my family. I do those things that bring me joy and happiness so I can keep the sense of purpose alive and not just feel like I'm just existing from day to day. Because that can happen. Mm-hmm. And it can happen, like I say, more so as you age. So it's important to keep that alive in your life, to keep that sense of purpose alive. Don't let it fade. Don't let it go undercover. Don't let just mere existence replace your purpose of life. Because then when that happens, now I'm not going to say you can't come back from it, but that's a hard road to come back from. You know why? Because I've been there. And not just as an older person, but as a young person. I've had challenges, some horrific challenges in my life that made me question that. My existence and the purpose and the meaning of my life. You don't have to be old to feel that way. You can just have some significant challenges and changes in your life to make you question that. Where's my part in this thing called existence? And is there a plan for me? Or am I just waving in the wind? No, you're not just waving in the wind. We all have a purpose. And we all have an opportunity to exercise those purposes every day in our existence. Every day as we exist, we have the opportunity to exercise, employ, enjoy, call it whatever you want to, interject. I think that makes life richer. I think it makes life longer. And I think sometimes it can be a challenge. Because it has been a challenge for me doing some stressful situations that are in my life, in my personal life. And even now, sometimes I reflect on some of those situations in my life, and it makes me even reflect on what is the purpose of my existence? You know? But I quickly come out of it because I've been there before. And if, like I say, if you dwell in it and you let it lay and lay and lay, it's a hard road coming back from that now. Because it wants to attach itself to you. And so when my doctor told me about her son committing suicide, that was the first thing I thought. He no longer knew what his existence was. He no longer knew what his purpose was. He had no sense of purpose. Because I think if people have a sense of purpose, it doesn't cure and make everything all right, but it helps. Because that's something you can really hang on to like what they call those, like a life rope. Like a life rope. You can hang on if only on that sense of purpose. It becomes a life rope. But when that rope is broken, and when you start doubting or when you start falling into that area of self-purpose, self-meaningfulness, why, it can cause so many problems. And for seniors who have transitioned through season after season after season, and I don't mean just the earthly seasons, I mean the challenges of life, the marriages, the children, the grandchildren, the loss of loved ones, the loss of spouses, friends, the loss of the ability to do some of those things you used to do that you found pleasure in. See, that's another thing too. Some people have lost the ability to be able to indulge themselves in the things that once brought pleasure. That's another hard rock right there. And sometimes as you age, that happens to people. And that's a hard road to come back from. Whew. So, I just wanted to say, aging well, and I'm looking at it, aging well with a sense of purpose. Because as I get to talking to you all, I forget my topic. Aging well with a sense of purpose. Don't ever let the purpose leave. Hold on to it. Keep that life rope tight. Hold on to it. Your sense of purpose. Because we all have a sense of purpose. And sometimes that sense of purpose can be beat down. It can be beat down. It can be beat down. But hold on. Because we're all in this together. And what one person experiences is not just one incident in the whole wide world. You got hundreds and hundreds of people who are experiencing the same thing. You know, I was looking at this movie yesterday, and it starred Loretta Young. I like Loretta Young. You know, she's that old black and white actress, beautiful girl. She was a beautiful woman. She was in this movie, and she had already had one child that was stillborn. And in the second pregnancy, she lost that baby. And her husband and the doctors were so concerned about her. So concerned about her. But she found a purpose in life. And it was through that purpose that she was able to recover. That purpose that she found in her life that made her feel meaningful, powerful, and not just existing. That purpose in her life helped her to survive and eventually return back to joy, happiness, and a normal life, because that was so hard for her. She wanted children so bad. So bad. It was hard to accept that. But through finding her purpose and becoming meaningful in somebody else's life, and not just existing. That was a wonderful movie. First, I started sitting down watching it. It was kind of slow, and then I thought, no, I'm going to watch this movie. Because sometimes I watch movies because I look for the meaning, the deep meaning in these movies. Not just as entertainment, but for the deep meaning of those pictures. And those old black and white movies, they have a lot of deep meanings if you sit there and watch them and you open your mind to it. It's not always just about entertainment. It's about the meaning that speaks loud through the film, through the movie itself. Yep. So anyway, you know, I'm going to go in here. I opened a can of apples. Those apples, I love those apples from Cracker Barrel. And I think I'm going to sit down and eat a few of them. And you know, it's already dark here. What time is it? 6 o'clock. And it's pitch black dark. You know, I think around January, somewhere around the middle of January is when we start getting more daylight during the day. It's a gradual thing. It's slow. But as I remember in January, that's when that starts happening. You start getting more daylight hours, but it's slow. And because I'm retired and I can sit and watch stuff now, I recognize that. And then by the time you get into February, it's even lighter. You're getting even more daylight light. So friends, I'm going to let you all go. Like I say, I I watch these movies and I look for the meaning, what they're speaking, what they're actually saying. And Loretta Young played that part. I can't think of the name of it. If I could, I'd tell you the name of the movie, so you could maybe watch it if you have time to watch it. But I can't think of the name of it. Back here in the file folder, and it won't roll up. You know how that is, friend. It's stuck. It won't roll up. And the harder I try to get it to roll up, the more stuck it becomes. So, enjoy your day. Don't ever lose your sense of purpose. Because when you lose your sense of purpose, you lose your sense. When you lose your sense of purpose, you lose your sense of existence. And you don't ever want to do that. You don't ever want to do that. Love you guys. Be safe. Keep your peace. Talk to you later. Oh, and by the way, if you like my content, give me a thumbs up. If you just like me, and you just like looking at my videos, subscribe to my YouTube station. It's called Boomers Blooming. Boomers Blooming. Subscribe to it if you would. It's absolutely free. It doesn't cost anything. Just lets you know when I put out a new video, you know. You know, my videos are all different. Some of them are just like this. They're more on the serious side. Because, you know, time is not always about fun, jumping up and, you know, we have to be serious just as well as we have to be non-serious. You know. So my videos are all different. Some of them I'm laughing. I can barely talk to you all because I'm laughing so hard. And then some videos are serious because I'm talking to somebody, because I've been there. So I'm talking to you because I have been there. You all have a good one.